See, I saw a few clips and I was like, this Viking samurai guy's being a bit hard on me in some places.
Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my interview with Scott Adkins. Make sure to check out the first part linked in the description below because I'm calling it the Art of Action, the ultimate episode, right? He's usually the host, obviously, on his YouTube channel with the Art of Action, but now he's the guest, and we get to find out more about him. But in part 2, we're going to basically talk about his new movie, Accident Man 2, Hitman's Holiday.
Accident Man 2 comes out on the 14th in America. Everyone in America should pay for it to watch it. And if around the world you're desperate to see it, you have to wait 2 weeks for it to come out in the rest of the world and pay for it. If you don't pay for it, we might not get to do another one. And it's as simple as that. If you like these movies, you've got to support them.
You guys got to check it out. Really cool movie. But this video ended up becoming something bigger, kind of personal to me. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be able to relate. I call it the Resurrection of Scott Adkins. So make sure to stay until the end because you'll see exactly what I'm talking about and where the direction of this video went and kind of why it went there. So it's quite interesting. Speaking of Accident Man 2, so when did you guys come up with the idea? Was it like while you were making the original one, or did you just not even think about it and maybe a couple of years after say, hey, we should do a sequel, guys?
So the first one was a comic book when I was a kid. Came out, Accident Man, and I saw it there. It was quite an obscure comic book, and it was by chance that I found it. I just saw it and I thought, oh, that looks cool. So I took it home and I read it and I loved it, and I kept this comic book and I kept rereading it. I was about 14, and I always thought to myself, man, this is going to make a great film. Somebody should make this, and nobody ever did. I've since found out that a big-time producer had the rights for quite a while, and he never managed to get it made for whatever reason. But anyway, when I decided to try and get the rights and turn it into a movie, they were up for grabs, and I got it, and I met up with the writers, and they said, oh, you're perfect for Mike Fallon. Yeah, we're happy to let you try and get the film made. So I wrote the script with my friend from school, Stu Small, and we got it to Sony, and immediately they said, yeah, we want to make it. So I made the first one in 2016. I guess it came out 2018. And around then we were told, yeah, let's do a sequel. But a few things happened. I think there was a regime change at Sony, and so then you're trying to convince somebody else to do the film that they've kind of inherited, and also the pandemic didn't help, and we also had some false starts where we almost started shooting it and it all fell through. So it wasn't easy. It was much easier getting the first one made than the second, for whatever reason. It just goes that way sometimes. But we're actually using a story in this, which is not from the series of comic books. It's completely just invented from scratch.
Okay.
But I really want, that's why I want to come on your channel. I really want fans of martial arts films and action films to know about it, because it's my baby. It's my passion project. It's a crazy, zany, British, Hong Kong martial arts movie that I just want people to see, because I think not enough people have seen the first one either, which is a bit frustrating to me because I think it's one of my better movies.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, and with the second one coming out, just, people need to check both of them out. But I think the second one's even better.
Oh, I was going to ask you that, how you thought it compared to the first one. So I watched them back to back, and the first one I quite enjoyed. Like, I was very entertained. Like, initially I was like, the character, and I don't know about the comic book. I'm like, I don't know if I like this guy. He's just killing guys so he could buy a new motorcycle. And then he's beating up guys at a bar to get, reduce his like stress, or I think you call it DMT or
DMT. That's straight out of the comic book. Don't get into trouble, anyone. Post-murder tension. Yeah. Post-murder tension before you get ideas. But yeah.
PMT. Post-murder tension.
Yeah. So when I was watching it, I was like, I don't really know if I like this guy.
He's a bad seed.
But then, as the story progressed and you really wanted to find out what happened to your ex-girlfriend and all that, it's like, okay, I could go along with this guy. I'm with them. I want to find out too, and the character wasn't quite as like cold, I guess. Right.
That was a pretty good punch.
We could warm up to him.
Yeah. I think that was an issue. I mean, that's how it was in the comic book. And I love that in the comic book. So I wanted to make because the comic book came out in the 90s, and that story's been told in many other movies. So it's not like you watch it and it's anything fresh. But for me, I wanted to make the comic book that I'd grown up loving it, so it's a faithful adaptation. But that is an issue. I think we corrected it for the second one. Made him a bit
and I was
more
going to
likable.
mention that. I was going to mention that. But as far as like the comic book, was the guy a martial artist, or did you just refashion that because you're a martial artist?
No. I wish I had. I lost the comic now after all these years. The dog had eaten. It was sellotaped together and all sorts, and I can't find it. It's probably somewhere. But these great images in the comic of him doing martial arts, and he had this black suit, you see, tight black lycra suit that was cut off at his forearms, and he's got these white gloves on and white tabi, and the costume was so cool. But it doesn't work in real life. I'm not going to be running around in that getup. It's not going to work. But in the comic, he looks amazing. And that big fight with the Mick and Matt character with Michael Jai White and Ray Park that we had, that's straight out of the comic book. That's why I loved it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like,
because
again,
put it online and you'll probably get images of that fight come up.
Interesting.
Accident Man comic.
Because it's an obscure comic. Like, I don't even think it was released in the States. I never even heard about it. And I kind of thought, well, maybe he refashioned it and repurposed it and kind of put like martial arts in it. But it's like, this was basically made for you.
Exactly. And when I met the writers, they were like, my God, you are Mike Fallon. I'm like, yeah, I do martial arts as well, lads. Come on, let's do it. Yeah, it's perfect for me. Perfect.
I'll tell you what I really liked about the second one. Because I know you said, look, martial art fans and action fans should check it out. I'll go like above that. Like, I highly recommend it. So I would actually recommend that just to a movie fan, which is basically anybody. Because I think anybody who likes movies could appreciate it. Because it's quite funny.
You look like melted Ben Affleck.
It's very entertaining, and there's some great action and fight scenes. So it's like, even if you're not into martial arts, people could really appreciate that just as a fun, entertaining comedy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we wanted to do. And the directors, George and Harry Kirby, wanted to do this also. Is just be consistently entertaining. The fights, the action, we know we've got that, right? I mean, I've done that. That's my bread and butter. But whenever there wasn't action, we wanted to deliver with the comedy or the relationship or a little bit of heart put into it. And, the acting, the drama, everything, and just be consistently entertaining. And, it's not a film to be took seriously. It's a crazy, zany type of thing. And I enjoy doing different types of genres. And, obviously it's very different to something like Avengement. But I just want people, especially in these times where things are a bit crazy, put Accident Man on for an hour and 30 minutes and just forget about all the troubles and just have a good time, man. Just have fun. And also bringing back the sort of 90s martial arts action that I grew up on and you grew up on that we don't really get anymore. We do to some degree, but this is like hardcore screen fighting, real sort of performers that do their own martial arts, doing all their own stunts and all the rest of it. I'm glad you liked it, mate. Mission accomplished.
I'd honestly say I loved it, like I really did. Like, I would actually watch
better
it
than Hard Target 2 then. Come on.
Well, we're gonna talk about that shortly. Yeah, that one, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Quite frankly, that movie sucked. I'll revisit parts just to kind of try to study something that I like to study something that's really bad and just try to figure out, like, why does this not work? And then the opposite, like why something does work, right? Where in the case of Accident Man 2, that really works and it's quite fun. I got to ask you this, though, like, who came up with the Poco the Clown character?
Yeah, that was me. I suddenly thought, I can't remember. We're just trying to come up with who the assassins were going to be, and I suddenly thought, wouldn't it be great to have a killer clown in there? Now, it's kind of been overdone. Joker was coming out at the time, and you've got It, and, with the killer clown, it's been loads of stuff. But I was specifically thinking of those. Remember those videos that were coming out at one point with these scary clowns? And a car would pull up, and in the headlamps, you'd see this thing just there with a mallet, and it'd really freak you out. I thought something like that would be nice to have, just because, none of these assassins are meant to be like, it's just a crazy world with different skills. And this guy's particular skill is he doesn't have any skill apart from the fact that he can't feel pain. And he's just like a bull in a china shop. And I just thought it'd be a great, fun character. And part of the gag is that I'm just smashing him up with everything, and he's just unstoppable and
Yeah,
laughing about it.
Yeah, and you're asking him, how about that? Does that hurt?
Yeah, that comes from the first film as well, Painful, which is something I took from Richard Norton, because he was famous for doing that in his Hong Kong movies like Shanghai Express and I think the other one with Sammo Hung, forget the name.
Yeah, but going back to Poco the Clown, Bo Fowler like really hit it out the park. They could literally make a movie just with that character, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they really can. He can carry a movie, that character.
Yeah, yeah. Did you like the Su Lin character, Wong Su Lin?
It was kind of funny that just the fact that you would pay somebody to like, you know, attack you every once in a while to keep you on your toes. I mean, that's a really funny idea.
Yeah, she might jump out in a minute.
Yeah, and it kind of set up because like you would have that ninja character that would eventually show up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think again, just keeping it entertaining, keeping it fun. You know, have a fight scene, but then find the comedy within it, within the fight as well. I'm glad you like it, mate. See, I saw a few clips, and I was like, this Viking samurai guy's being a bit hard on me in some places.
Let's go to the videotape.
I think you could do Under Siege. You could remake Under Siege with Scott Adkins, for example.
Ooh. I mean, you could, but would it be any good? You know?
I'm just a cook.
Which is fine, because if you put yourself out in the public sphere,
Mhm.
you better have a thick skin, because you know all sorts of people are going to talk all sorts of stuff about you. But I thought I wanted to come on here, and I wanted to get you to watch Accident Man 1 and 2 and another movie, and I just wanted to see if I could swing you around a little bit.
And I'm glad you did, because honestly, I had given up on your movies after Hard Target 2, and that came out I think in 2016. But
I don't understand. Things were going so great. What happened? Something must have happened.
It's not you. It's me.
If it's anybody, it's me.
All right. It's you.
You're damn right it's me.
here's the thing, Scott. Like, if we're being completely honest,
Just before Accident Man came out, you gave up.
yeah, and we're going to talk about Hard Target 2 very, very shortly, but just in general, you know, it's not just you. It's you know, Michael Jai White had Blood and Bone was amazing, but
Yeah.
you know, then he had like Welcome to Sudden Death. And then,
Go fuck yourself.
even like Van Damme and Seagal, like the guys we grew up with who hit it out the park, you know, just killed it in the 80s and 90s. I mean, I think a lot of fans like myself kind of had to even give up on a lot of their newer movies. I mean, this genre just has really gone down. But I will say, you know, post Hard Target 2, watching Avengement, which everyone's like, dude, you got to watch Avengement. You got to watch Avengement, which I knew I eventually would. And I did. I'm like, okay, okay, let's not judge them, you know, too harshly with like Hard Target 2. It's like Avengement's amazing. I mean, your performance, like just the intensity, right? You really showed off the acting quite good, right? I would think, I don't know how many cups of coffee or how many times he had to like really build it up before he did those takes. But I mean, you're just like, that's a performance, right? And a fun
Thanks,
movie.
man.
And a fun movie.
The months and the weeks roll by. I slowly but surely turn myself into what you see before you now. A hardened, rusty nail.
And then Scott, you got something like One Shot, where it's like, okay, he's just a very serious character, right? Playing it very straight. In the action, and that's amazing because it's technically looks like it's in one shot. And then you got like Accident Man, where like your comedic timing is quite good. Like you surround yourself with good comic players, but then it's like I could totally just see you in a pure comedy, like the way you hit your lines and everything. So pretty versatile actor overall. So Hard Target 2 was a huge turnoff, and then you know, watching your new work, I'm like, actually, this guy's really good.
I'm back.
And not just from the action perspective, which everybody already knows you got that. You're second to none when it comes to that. But as an actor, and I think that's more important, especially because that's what Hollywood looks for, right? They want the actor in like in the new Roadhouse reboot, for example. And we'll talk about that. But let's go into Hard Target 2. Like, what the hell happened to that, man? I mean, you can't even really like the movie that much, right? You know what's a shame? Have you ever seen Hard Target 2?
Yeah. I see them
You
all.
honestly think about that. Oh, now that's good enough to be its own video. Trust me. Stay tuned. But let's get a final word from Scott on Accident Man 2 here.
But I want to say to you, congratulations with the channel. It's getting bigger and bigger. And I watch it myself because you cater to people like me that miss the old 80s, 90s action stuff. I'm a huge fan of that. And it's got a good bit of nostalgia, your channel. So keep it up, mate. And I'm happy to come on and spread the word. And I urge people to go and legitimately pay for Accident Man Hitman's Holiday. It's out October 14th. Super proud of the movie. But thanks for letting me come on and spread the word, mate.
Oh, loved having you on. And again, that movie is amazing. So I highly recommend it just for anybody who appreciates movies, which is pretty much everybody. Everybody could appreciate a good movie. So you don't even have to like action or martial arts, though if you do, it's extra good. So thanks for being on, Scott. As far as watching Accident Man 2, Hitman's Holiday, there's like a bigger mission here. So for one, obviously, you guys are going to be really entertained. So that alone is why it's worth watching. But the bigger picture is if these producers and distributors realize and see that these movies can make money, and let's say this one makes actually more than forecast, over time they can start justify spending more money, and then we could get that mid-budget action film, a lot more of those mid-budget action films that we all grew up and loved in the 80s and 90s. So people like Scott, I think, deserve a bigger budget. Not that Accident Man 2 looks like a low production, because it doesn't. It looks theater quality. But the problem is if this doesn't perform, when they do Accident Man 3 or other films, the budgets are going to get smaller and smaller until, who knows, maybe they'll just disappear altogether. And we don't want that to happen. So when a movie's well made in this genre, like Accident Man 2, it's really important to support it for the bigger mission, guys. We got to support this genre. We like it. And when these ones are well made, these are the ones we got to pay for.